You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. We're here today to talk about the up-and-coming fixture on Saturday, where we go back down to London to take on Arsenal. Long fixture, not too far for Robin to travel again. Lucky for some. Whereas, like, so for me and Kev, if we were going to make the travel, we'll be travelling on Friday night. Joining me to discuss this, though, we have the aforementioned Kev and Robin. How are we doing today, Kev?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. It's one of those, isn't it? Yeah, another trip down to London, another trip into the M25. It seems to be every away game's down there now. What's outside of London? Liverpool, Everton, the unwashed. That's pretty much it, realistically. Obviously, I know there's other teams in there. Like, look, come on, calm down. I know there's Wolves and Burnley for the moment, but yeah, Robin must be buzzing. That bus pass of his must be getting him absolutely everywhere.
Speaking of Robin, how we're doing.
Not quite bus yet, lads. But no, unfortunately, Arsenal's not exactly the greatest place to get to. That and Tottenham aren't really great. I mean, Arsenal's better than Tottenham, but
I'll agree with that. Tottenham is a nightmare to get to. I've been there for the NFL a couple of times.
A horrid place to get to. But look, it's not too bad. Obviously, Kev, you did forget to mention Brighton and Bournemouth. It's obviously that little bit further south than London. Look, it's just one of those things. Look, I mean, next year people will be moaning that they're going to have to travel up to the northeast 3 times a year if Borough get up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just trip to London and that. Let's try and make it better than the last 3 visits that we've lost.
Yeah. Let's kick off proceedings and straight away. I want to talk about the game itself. Obviously, back at home, the game finished 2-2 with incredible scenes in the last minute, like Robbie getting that wonderful bicycle kick. Obviously, going down in to Arsenal, it's going to be a tricky game. They have now obviously lost their home record against Man United. What are we expecting us to go do when we go down there? Are we going to just go all guns blazing and fire at all cylinders, or do we think we're going to be a bit reserved and see what they bring to us?
I think it's a bit of a pointless question, to be honest, Adam, but I suppose as host you got to do it. Look, we're going to set up with 5 at the back. We're gonna set up out of possession as basically a 5-5. I'd love us to keep a man up top and exploit it, but to be honest, I think it's going to be 2 rows of 5. When we're in possession, we're going to play our football going forward, but I do see us being a little bit cautious. It will be a back 3 with the 2 wing backs. I don't think they'll be getting anywhere near as high. The interesting one for me is who do you play where? Is it a case if you put Mukiela as the right wing back, even though he's been solid, when he's needed in the centre? But to me, the probably better option is Ballard, Trauder, and Alderete. With Ronaldo on the right, on the left there. But then you're thinking where you're going to put Trey Hume if you're starting like that, because realistically, then you're looking at that 5, and then you're probably looking at Talby. You can't really lose him, especially with his pace.
Mm-hmm.
Is Hume going to retain his place as captain? Probably. So then obviously you're looking at Siddiqui and Diarra, with Robbie up front.
I think you're definitely right with that. I think you're going to go defense. You are going to go heavy on the defense. I mean, Arsenal, they're going to want this game, if anything, to kind of re-secure that top spot. Obviously, I know the gap's still, 6 points? I could be wrong, but they're going to want a gap. They're going to want to keep maintaining the gap. It's too risky at the top for you to not have that attitude. because as soon as the other team gets within sort of four, that they've got something to chase. If it's six, it's 2 wins. It feels more. And I think that's where, you know, I think we all will all admit we probably hoped that the game against Chelsea the other night in the cup, we all probably hoped it went to extra time and pens and sapped it out of them. But that was the most dull game of football I've ever watched because Chelsea couldn't break down Arsenal, and Arsenal were just happy passing it around each other. So you ended up in a scenario where, yeah, that's my worry is that Arsenal are going to be full of energy and just going to want to push on now because they don't want to kind of be labelled with the bottling it tag that they're getting.
Yeah. One of the things for me is I think they're going to try not to underestimate us, similar like what they when they came to Towers. We said this at the time that they thought we were just going to be a pushover, as you mentioned, Kev, on it. A newly promoted side, they can just breeze over. They can push us over. They can bully us. And when we've turned up and played our football, if it wasn't for obviously, I would say, Trossard's wonder strike, that game could have potentially still been 1-0 to us up until that point. And they were, to me, somewhat, without sounding rude, they were rattled, if that makes sense. Thinking, wait a second, this doesn't happen to us. What's going on? Then they then turned on their style of football, and then let the guard down. We equalised from it, and I think that's what we need to do this game: is go down there, show a bit of attitude, show a bit of bully football to get that ball and try and get the ball across the line and come away with. I would be happy with a point this weekend. Obviously, we'll come to our predictions later on. The one thing I wanted to bring yourself in first of all, Kev, Angulo. It got announced today in the press conference that he has came over and he has spent some time this afternoon. I think it was either tonight or this afternoon. I can't remember. Sorry, that he spent some time with the lads. Do we see him possibly featuring on the bench, or do we think that's going to be more see how he is training wise and then put him on either the bench or play him on Wednesday against Liverpool?
It depends if he's had his international clearance come through. That is always a massive problem when you're in the position we're in, and generally in the Premier League, a lot of these players have got to come through their international clearances before we can kind of utilise them. But also, what's his match sharpness like? Obviously, it's a different league where he's come from, so it's not knowing what level he's up to. Obviously, we've brought him in because he is of a level or of a standard. But I think realistically, his first game's potentially going to be after Liverpool. I just think it might all be a little bit too soon, but we'll see. I mean, the lad will probably travel if he's not busy sorting himself out with somewhere to live, because the players have got to make that sort of thing happen if he doesn't get put up in the hotel.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, if he's available and he's got no other commitments, then the chances are they're going to be putting him on the coach to go down to London, well, train and coach, however way they do it this time, to experience what we do.
He sort of threw me on that one, chucking in Gulo, because obviously I thought we were talking about how we were going to set up and everything, and it's like caught me off guard a little bit there.
What do I
I
do
mind
best?
thinking about that. I just don't know where that sort of like came from, Adam. It was a bit bizarre. But look, I mean, are we talking about how we're going to set up? Or are we talking about Angulo? Where are we going with this one?
I'm just mixing it up in regards to because you can use
Yeah.
it in the same
Look,
remit of the fashion of how we line up. Because if you do, for example, bring them in the fold, do you then change that? What you were saying before is say a possible five defense, five midfield, and then obviously push Bobby up so he can then go in advanced places. If you brought him in the likes of the fold, say off the subs bench, do you then tweak it around to go right? Okay, we'll go say 5-4-1 and put him straight on the wing where that is his favorite position, and go right. Show us what you're made of, that kind of thing.
yeah. From someone with quite a lot of years coaching experience, you don't go to the team that's winning the league by a bit of a distance, top of the Champions League, made it to the Carabao Cup final, and are quite possibly favourites for 4 titles this season by bringing in a player that's been at the club within a day and probably not trained. It's just absolute suicide. He's going to take time to settle, basically. I think we've got to go there expecting Arsenal to be putting on the pressure. They're different at home. We know that. Yeah, they lost last time out against Man United. But obviously, Man United's a bit resurgent under Carrick. But with the team that United have on paper, they've underachieved for the last year and a half, if not longer. So if United hadn't been underachieving the way they had been, I think that result the last time out wouldn't have taken anyone by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to go there and primarily just try and stop them scoring.
Yeah.
We played our football at the Stadium, but we're away from home. The pressure's on them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that we'll set up defensively and we'll try and nick one on the break. And the thing is, though, or a set piece. Things like Arsenal are dangerous from set pieces. But also, as well, if they take a lead in a game, like they did at the Stadium of Light, they then to just waste time, knock the ball about. Like Wednesday night against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup semi-final, they didn't need to win that game. So they were just boring football, making no attempt to break forward too much. They didn't want to leave any gaps at the back.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously then it was only because Chelsea in the last few minutes really were trying to push for a goal to take it to extra time that they allowed themselves space to get done on the counter. Arteta is a very, very good coach. He played under quite a few good managers. He's a top class international. He was an assistant for Pep at City. He's gone to Arsenal and he's been given an opportunity with time, which a lot of managers don't get nowadays, of coaches get that time to be able to progress and that. And yeah, they've spent money like all teams have to compete at the highest level. But you got to look at what they're doing, and it's going to be a tough one for Regis to go there because realistically, we are going to sit back. We're not going to do anything else. We are going to try and get a set piece or a counter and hit them like that. I think Robbie will start, and I think that's where Talby is going to be essential for getting up, like he did to score the winner against Chelsea. I think that's going to be really important. I say the one, well, it's not really a weak point in that setup because obviously Hume's obviously been made captain while Xhaka's not there, and obviously Hume had a really good game last weekend. I'm not going to say he didn't, because previous week against West Ham he was absolutely stinking and he got hauled off at half time, and quite rightly so. But do we want someone in that midfield who's going to have a little bit more pace? Because I mentioned that team and didn't even mention Lafay. Because I'm bringing Hatrauda in. But you're not going to drop Lafay. I don't think so. Who's going to miss out? I think you need Talby for the pace. And if you're going to do anything, I think Diarra's probably the other player with the pace that's going to be breaking forward. So to me, in that, she might miss out.
Yeah.
Siddiqui's not going to get dropped. But I think he will have to set up with Hatrauda in the team and be solid.
Yeah. So the one thing I'm going to bring into that mix then, in regards to somewhat of where you've positioned kind of all of us and talking about what we can do. Obviously, we know with Arsenal, as you touched on there, they're good at set pieces. They know how to exploit them in a way, and that's where the majority of their goals have came from. Obviously, we saw in that semi-final against Chelsea, Chelsea played them at their own game, so to speak, by as soon as was it a corner or was it a free kick? Apologies if I'm wrong, of whichever one it is. That the Chelsea defense just stepped forward, and it threw Arsenal off, and it was like, wait a second, what's just happened here? Well, why have they done that? do we need to look at something like that, or do we just stick to our game plan? Go right. We can be quite resolute. Get that ball, as you said, there, Robin, to a Talby who can then break and punish a team on the counter attack, or would you say we just do it a different method?
I mean, I know what you mean. It was from a corner and that. I mean, I think what Rossini was doing is what Unai Emery did last season against Arsenal. He left 3 up, which meant that they had to drop back.
Yeah.
But the worrying thing is you can't be offside from a corner. From that initial corner now. Yeah, we could realistically leave Bobby up there, leave Talby up there, etc. Maybe someone else and maybe go high up the pitch. But then what do Arsenal then do, or what do we do then if Arsenal go, you can sit up there, because now we're going to be confident going forward. We've got 3 extra players unmarked in the box and we're really good at set pieces.
Right.
It's a risk and reward situation. Yeah, you want to take the risk. I mean, I'd love to have more players. I've said it before. I think we're always too deep on corners. Yes, you bring the likes of Bobby and Wilson back, which are strong and tall and can head the ball. I mean, look, we did it with Quinny years ago. It tends to be the thing. But when you've got other players then that aren't as good in the air and are smaller, then leave them up. See, to me, Talby, with his pace, he's not going to win a defensive header in the box. That's not his game. Yeah, I mean, Hume's not the tallest of players, but he's a defender and he gets up, he knows how to use his body. Talby's not like that. So, leave Talby up there. Maybe even Noah Siddiqui, who's not exactly the tallest in there. He uses his strength and blocks off and things like that, which you need that as well to stop the runners. But to me, I'll just leave Talby up there all the time, and then it's down to, Arsenal, what they do then. Do they go, we're not going to leave him one-on-one with anyone. We're not going to leave no one back there.
Yeah.
So do they go 2-on-1 and go a man short? It's really hard. Look, they're the first team that really had a set-piece coach. And like all clubs are employing them now.
Yeah.
But we showed it in the game at home that we can deal with what they've got to offer. The only difference is at the moment, Arsenal's coming back with a fully fit squad. I think they've got everybody available again, and it makes a massive difference.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to bring into Kev on that fact being there, that Arsenal, as far as I'm aware, after the game against Chelsea, they've had no injuries to report. So they are fully pretty much strength. So they have got, like, obviously Rice, Martinelli, Odegaard and stuff like that. So they have got the weapons there. What is our main worry with them having that fully strength squad?
It depends on what outlets you believe. So with Arsenal at the minute, Saka's apparently still got a discomfort, so could be out. Odegaard's also got discomfort. Xhaka's got discomfort. It's just to what extent is it stopping you playing, or is it could be managed? And then obviously Marino's got a broken foot or fractured foot. So they have got some injuries. The problem is Arsenal's one of these teams like Chelsea, where they've got 942 players to choose from. So whilst they have got potentially 3 injuries, they've got 8 players to replace those 3 people.
Yeah.
I'm sure Arsenal fans would disagree. But yeah, they've got a massive squad, and yeah, they've got plenty of options. The fact that Eze is a prime example, signed for them and is barely used as a substitute. Left Palace for the dream and got nowhere with it. So yeah, that's what it is for me. I think Arsenal have just got that squad that's going to last, isn't it? They're, like I said a minute ago, they're going to want to win this. They're going to want to probably try and get a few more goals. What we need to look at is take it as a positive. We got our goal difference corrected to 0 now, so it's better than it was. It might even be.
It's actually 1. Remember, it's +1. You've got
Adam on the correction.
The only reason being Kev will back me up, is the fact being as the goals were going in, I was like, so that's -1, 0, 1.
What you mean? It
Bless him.
wasn't just the point that I pointed it out. You're going, it's one all the time in the
It wasn't
background.
that for once. I actually I scouted that well ahead.
Well, that's what it is for me. We've just got the goal difference, to
I
the
mean,
good. I would
yeah.
say we want to try and keep the weekend in a position where that doesn't take a pasting.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in on a slightly different angle because obviously the goal difference is important and stuff like that, and we don't want to get in the negative again. We want to keep going positive all the time.
Yeah.
This is quite a big weekend. I'm going to say the top of the table in general,
Mhm.
because obviously, you know, we've got to go down to Arsenal and play them, and obviously Liverpool's got City.
Yeah.
Now, if we get a result against Arsenal and City get a result against Liverpool, that actually would put us above Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
And it closes the gap there. So there could be quite a few nerves around this weekend. And then obviously Liverpool's got to come to us on Wednesday night in a position that we could be, you know, realistically going 3 clear of Liverpool by the time Wednesday night's finished.
Mm-hmm. Which
And
nobody would have saw coming in the start of the season, would you?
well, this is it. Nobody would have saw that coming, but with the last unbeaten home record, is it going to last forever? Probably not.
Yeah.
But the fact is, we've got opportunities there, and we've got a squad now, and we've made some really good signings this window. We're bringing what I class as some real competition for Robin Roofs,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously Nielsen Angulo is definitely an upgrade on Simona Dingra.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was sad to see Dingra go because he had some good moments, but I guess he never really lived up to the potential of what we thought we were buying from Brighton. Hence why they got rid of him and spent the money on Tommy Watson,
Yeah.
who obviously has now gone out on loan again, to get some football. But, we've definitely got an upgrade there. And it says that what we're trying to do as well, we're trying to then now take that next step, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So while every bookie and pundit and everything's going to make Arsenal favourite this weekend, I can see there being an upset.
Okay. Fingers crossed. Um, so that's pretty much, I think, everything in regards to the game, so to speak. I do want to touch on obviously the departure of Luciano Vulcano. We heard murmurings on Tuesday, but it wasn't fully concrete that he had left the club. On the press, obviously, this afternoon, Regis was asked about that, and he pretty much in polite words went, yes, the have parted ways, and it came out that it was on a mutual consent ground. Is that, without sounding ridiculous, but is that the club just politely saying you weren't good enough, you didn't cut the mustard, on your way?
It could have been numerous things. It could have been the fact that he didn't quite make the level, and also what we said off pod lads. It could just be that we've got a scouting network, obviously with Gisolfi and Speakman, which are looking at everybody underneath them. It's not like it's just them two. Everybody underneath them, right, are looking at players and stuff, and we're bringing players in, and we've realised over the last few years, we have made some mistakes. Um, but obviously we've made some really good signings as well. And I feel that exactly the same way with the coaching. We've got feelers out there, everyone, to where are the really good coaches coming through, who's what, in the coaching world, and who's getting a reputation at lower levels and stuff within youth coaching. And we're targeting them sort of coaches as well. And some of them you're going to get right, some of them you get wrong. It could just be the fact is he couldn't settle in the northeast.
Would be.
He could have been homesick.
Mhm.
It could have been his wife. I mean, I don't know if he's married, his wife, and kids, or whatever, and stuff like that. They may not. They may not have travelled. They may not have come over. He might be
Mhm.
missing them.
Yeah.
We don't know the ins and outs of it, so I think it's a bit unfair of us to say that was he good enough. We don't
Yeah.
know. Look, the club have got their reasons, and obviously he's got his reasons why it didn't work out.
Mhm. Kev, do you want to put your 50 pence in it?
There's not really much left to say.
Sorry, mate.
Like, yeah, it could be that he was expecting. He came in obviously with a good CV. Was he maybe thinking if we get promoted, Regis will struggle in the Premier League and I might get the chance?
Mhm.
Has something like that happened? And then he's obviously realised that Regis is going nowhere and we're doing all right. And he's thought, well, actually,
Yeah.
I'm sat here third choice behind, well, probably fourth choice. You've got obviously Regis, then you've got Proctor, you've got Ali, who obviously was the goalkeeping coach, has also now stepped into a more senior role in the coaching side of things. And the bloke's probably, in a little bit of it, thought, well, this isn't doing me any credit. The man that's
Yeah.
getting all the headlines is Regis. So it wouldn't surprise me if you don't see him go and pick up an assistant coach role somewhere, or even go and pick himself up a head coach role somewhere out in Europe, or potentially back out towards Saudi, because obviously that's where we got him from, wasn't it?
Mhm.
So yeah, look, like Robin said, we could speculate 1,000 times about why it's happened.
Yeah.
We spotted it on the touchline the other night. He wasn't at the game,
Yeah.
or if he was hidden somewhere.
Mhm.
So maybe, it was already happening in the background. And to be honest, I don't think it really affected us the other night. The
Yeah.
scoreline certainly wouldn't have suggested it did.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
don't want our fans thinking when we, face Arsenal at the weekend, if the result isn't favourable, that, oh God, it's because we lost the assistant coach. It's because we're playing Arsenal, guys. Come on.
Exactly. Right then. Let's get some predictions under the way. Um, Robin, I'll come to you first. See what your thoughts are.
I'm going to give two predictions.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I'm going to say if we wear the third kit, we'll lose the match 2-0.
Mhm.
If we win the away blue kit, I think we'll win the match 3-2.
Oh, interesting. Kev?
I didn't realise multiple choice was an option these days.
I think when it comes to possible choice of kit and away match, I think we may have a little leeway on this one.
Yeah, the black kit's not done us many favours, let's be brutally honest. We've scored in it
I
now,
was,
which is
I
good,
was going to say we
but
have
yeah,
scored in it, as Kev said. What we'll always find out potentially just before you give your prediction there, Kev, is when the club tweets in next game, wherever it is. 9 times out of 10, the kit is technically leaked of what we're going to wear. And I believe when we played West Ham, they went next up, and it was us in the black shirt, and then lo and behold, on the game day, we were in the black third kit. So
well, if you're basing it on
No,
that, if you're
on
basing
the
it on that
West Ham one,
theory,
it had the home badge, where that suggested we'd be wearing the home shirt.
I saw the
What?
black one.
No, when they do it, they always show the badge of what we're going to be wearing. And
well, in that case, we're wearing the home shirt, lads, because they put the home crest, not the cat or the away badge.
maybe they've changed it then. But yeah, we're not wearing the home shirt. That's a definite.
Exactly. Now, if you go on Adam's theory, it's going to be
And
the blue
unless
shirt.
that was to stop people knowing what shirt we were wearing.
No, maybe. But yeah, in that, going in Adam's path, it's the picture of the Emirates Stadium, everybody, with a blue banner at the bottom. So maybe it's the blue kit.
Go.
Hopefully that's right, and Robin gets his prediction. And do you know what? Fair play if it is. Um, for me, lads, I'll take absolutely anything. We've got two absolutely horrible fixtures coming up here. An away trip down to London, and then obviously it's a home match against Liverpool. Like Robin said a minute ago, Liverpool are going to be a hard game. We need the Arsenal game really to be gentle. as weird as that sounds. You know, I'd take a 1-0 loss on this one, lads, purely because that takes the goal difference to nil. It's not going to be a, 3-something, 4-something, 5-something that kicks you back down the sort of score, goal difference. But yeah, come away from there with a point to be amazing. But I think this is going to be an L, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, no bother. For me, I'm saying a 1-1 draw. I just think we've got something about us to pull ourselves through and get across the line. As you said, Kev, ideally we need a nice relaxing game and effectively let those 90 minutes fly by and just let Wednesday just hurry up and be over and done with as well.
I was thinking the only things you'll be pulling through there, Adam, is the splinters out your backside.
Definitely sitting on the fence with that one, wasn't he?
Hey, I had to cut the middleman somehow. But no, lads, thank you to everyone listening to these pods. As Robin alluded to the last one, we just do this for the laughs, the giggles, and just for the sheer love of the football club that we all love dearly. So thanks for tuning in. I know Kev's just recently uploaded a new TikTok, so if anybody wants to watch that, I highly recommend it. It's quite a good one. Check us out at Spotify, Apple, YouTube. You can find the audio files of all this as well. Brilliant. Thank you to yourself joining me today, Kev.
Yeah, pleasure as always. Yeah, sorry the latest TikTok isn't PG, but hey, sometimes you got to say how you feel.
Exactly. And Robin, thank you for joining me.
No, thank you, Adam. Obviously, thanks to Kevin. I just want to say, obviously, there's apologies from Tom tonight. He's suffering with a bit of a migraine, so he's not joined us, but he will be back, soon enough. For those people which are, enjoying a fresh voice on the pod as well.
He's suffering with a
Indeed.
migraine. I believe we call that Adam.
Hey,
maybe that was it.
That
Then.
can't be helped. So we're going to just call it the admin. Okay, fair enough, whatever. But thanks again, lads. It means a lot. And as ever, everyone, we'll see you on the next one.